Dan says, if I'm setting up a website for a local business along with a Tier 1 IFTTT network and in 301 redirecting to the customer website for my WordPress property, how important is it to fully optimize the customer's Joomla website? Will it rank solely by redirecting my site's page to it, or is it still critical to fully optimize the Joomla site? Dan, you have to optimize the Joomla site. You can't take a page, a web page, that is way over optimized or not optimized at all, and just point a well-optimized page to it with a 301 redirect and expect that page to rank. Because remember, the 301 redirect essentially removes the content from that 301 redirect. And the content's still there, but Google doesn't read the content on that page because it sees the redirect and immediately redirects to the final destination, the target URL. So it doesn't even consider the content on the 301 redirect page. So you have to optimize the destination, the final target URL. That has to be optimized correctly, or else you won't get any results, or you'll get poor results for that matter. Okay, so you still have to optimize the Joomla site regardless. In fact, your 301 site, guys, you could take if you wanted to, you could take your client site and just set up your own domain and just do straight 301 redirects with zero content or anything, and just do all your link building to your own domain. You can do that. The reason why, what I typically do is I will optimize the client site and then make a clone of it. In this case, since it's a Joomla site, I've never worked with Joomla, so I don't know if you could just clone Joomla and then turn it into a WordPress site. You might have to do some manual work to make that happen. But what I would do is optimize the client site, the Joomla site. Then I would create my own WordPress site with the same content and everything that's on the client site, and then 301 on a page-by-page basis from my domain to the client site. Build all my links. Not citation links, guys. Citation links are going to have to go direct to the client site. But any off-page link building I'm doing, like PBNs or anything that I'm doing outside of content syndication via IFTTT networks and citations and press releases, where you're going to want to have the client's domain obviously in the press release, I would be building links to my own domain, which is then 301 redirected. The reason why I like to do that, guys, is make a clone of the site first before doing the 301 redirect, is so that in case the client and I end up parting ways, when I remove the 301 redirects, I have an exact clone of that site, and all I would do was swap out the critical details, like the company name and the company logo and stuff like that. And so typically, what I'll change some of the wording on the pages and stuff so that it's not a 100% duplicate page. It'll be shifted up and changed it up a little bit, but the bulk of the work is done because you already did that when you optimized the client site. So like if I get a new client, guys, and that's what I'm going to do is build them a brand new WordPress site, then I'll build the WordPress site for them, completely optimize their site and everything. Then I'll make a clone of it and install that on one of my own servers or one of my own hosting accounts on my own domain, and then just do a strictly page-by-page, one-to-one ratio redirect. And then I'll build links to my domain instead. And so when the client parts, if they decide that they don't need me later down the road, I remove those 301 redirects, make some changes to the pages so that it's not an exact duplicate of their site, but all the link building that I had been doing to my domain remains. It doesn't mean that their site's going to fall out of the index, guys. It doesn't happen like that, because if you were providing proper services to them, like content marketing and citation building and doing press releases and things like that, you still will have built up the SEO on their own domain. But all of the additional link building stuff that you do will be running through your own domain. So when you remove the redirects, you are in a good position to rank with little work, with a lot less work than it took to initially rank the client site, because you already have built-in SEO and backlinks into the domain that you had been redirecting, if that makes sense. It's not like if you remove the redirect, the client site falls out of the index and yours appears magically where they did. It doesn't happen like that. But it still puts you in a much better position where you have a lot less work to do. Does that make sense? All right, question 2. Can I get away with a product or brand page for Facebook page, or must I get an address and use the local business option for the Facebook page? No, I don't. I think I've probably only actually set up 2 local business Facebook pages before. Everything else, I just use the product or brand page. So I don't. Guys, I'm not a huge Facebook guy. Like, I don't do a whole lot of stuff on Facebook, so I'm not sure. Maybe one of the other guys, like Hernan, can comment on this. I'm not sure how powerful the local business pages are as for SEO. They might be. I just don't have a lot of experience with them.
Well, the problem with Facebook is that it doesn't. First off, it's not clear about. Let's talk about ranking in Facebook itself, because it has its own search engine, and it's not really clear about what are the rules of the game. You know, when it comes to ranking in Facebook. Now, in terms of ranking in Google, you can. It's definitely a good parasite as long as your page is public, because otherwise, if there's any kind of issues when crawling that page, for example, for like private groups and those kind of things, Facebook gets kind of jealous when sharing with Google a lot of info, so I understand that Google cannot crawl like 95% of Facebook, maybe even more. So I think that it's a good parasite. You should probably check on SEMrush, because that will give you an idea of how many pages are ranking from Facebook, or local pages or general pages from Facebook on Google. That will give you an idea of the potential that can be a parasite, but I hardly doubt that those local details will work the same as with Google My Business, like validating or becoming a real citation when it comes to a local business. You know what I mean? So you can rank it, but I don't think they will add up to your data, because again, Facebook is kind of jealous when sharing information with Google. So that would be my intake on it.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, I typically just set up a brand page, and that's it. I mean, and that's it. I don't usually do the local page, so I just don't know how much of a benefit that would have. I'd have to do some more testing on that. But like I said, I just typically just set up a brand page and run with it. It's just easier to set up, and that's all I usually ever do.